What's up YouTube? It's time for another video. I know it's been a long time since I posted a video, but there is good reason, and it is because I've been participating in my first game jam. And sorry for not posting another video for the how to make your first game series. I recently transitioned from Unity 2019 to the 2020 version, and I couldn't transfer my games onto that platform. So now I have a bunch of random scripts for a code in my folder. Anyways, I'm back, and let's get into it. I recently participated in the Brackeys Game Jam 2021.1 and it was super fun. A game jam is an event where you try to make a game in a limited time period with a certain theme the game has to follow. In this case, the game jam lasted a week from Sunday, February 14th to Sunday, February 21st. The theme for Brackeys Game Jam was Stronger Together. I am sorry for the lack of visuals in that I never recorded what I was working on during this game jam. I found out the theme early Sunday morning and decided to spend the day thinking about ideas for my game and what I could base it around. I came up with several ideas and narrowed it down to two. My first idea, which was a suggestion from my younger brother, was to have a main player that you controlled, and the more levels you passed, the more clones you would get to help you defeat invading aliens. You would control these clones simultaneously, and they would shoot when the main player shot, and in the direction he shot. My second idea was that, and the one I ended up using, was that you could control a smaller slime and a taller slime. Each slime would have different skill sets, and you could use each of their abilities to solve the puzzle. Upon further reflection on what I could use for the game, I thought about that you should be able to combine the slime so a larger slime would be made, and you could control him and use his skill sets. So after deciding to make the game about controlling different slimes, I called it a day and went to bed. On Monday, I had the day off from school, so I decided to get some big progress in, knowing I wouldn't be able to make much progress throughout the week. I made a Trello board containing all the things I need in my game and some extras I could use if I had the time to get to it. Being that it was my first 2D game, I used the Brackeys 2D game tutorial on how to make player movement. This was super helpful and I highly recommend it, although it doesn't tell you how to make a player controller, but rather gives it to you. After I had finished making the player movements, I sharpened the different player skill sets, making the smaller slime, which was currently a green block sprite, faster, and taller slime jump higher. After that, I focused on making a raycast between the two slime blocks to see the distance between the two objects. After scouring the internet for answers and not finding any for about a half hour, I came across a very short tutorial on YouTube that helped me with the code I needed. Very shortly after the video, I had a script logging the distance between the two smaller slimes. I then made a variable to see if the slimes could combine and had it working in no time. My original idea for this set of slimes to combine was to have an object in between on the edges of every single slime, but I decided that wouldn't work after all, being that they could jump to different sides of each other. I ended my coding on Monday with a struggling problem, and that was to get halfway point between the two slimes' positions. After also scouring the internet for not as long, I found the answers I needed on the Unity forums page and implemented the code to find the halfway point between the two slimes. I then made an object to be an indicator and go between the two slimes and disabled its sprite renderer so it wouldn't be seen when you played the game, but it would still be active. After that, I called it a day and went to bed. Throughout the rest of the week, being that I was back on school on Tuesday, and for the rest of the week, I am in high school with a load of work to do each day. I found it difficult to spend time working on the project and only got one or two mechanics down. During this time, I was able to make it so that I could switch between the player movements of the small slime, and the tall one. I found this quite easy to do in that I had played with this mechanic while working on my dream game when I first got into coding, and it was no different introducing the mechanic from my previous 3D projects to my 2D game I was working on. I also added an indicator to tell which player you were controlling, though it is very basic and looks straight garbage, just like the rest of my project, because I was using squares and circles. I was not discouraged, though, because I knew this was just the test phase of my project, and I knew I would get to graphics later. I also wanted to note that if you are just using cubes and circles, do not get discouraged, because graphics uh, can be one of the last steps into a game, and that you will probably are just in the test phase of your project where you're trying to get the core mechanic down, and that is important to get it right, and then work on your graphics. So that basically all the project I can make between Tuesday and Thursday. On Friday, I was able to do a mediocre amount of work, being that I was out of school at 2:30 p.m. and had no homework, although I could not code the whole time because my family also wanted to use the TV. On Friday, I was able to get the main mechanic down of combining the two slimes at the halfway point between the two slimes, or cubes as they were in this phase of development. I simply made that when the combined equals true and the player pressed a certain button, the sprite renderers of the two smaller slimes would be disabled as well as their movement scripts, and made the large slimes renderer and sprite renderer and movement script be enabled. I now realize I probably could have just have disabled the slime's very object so that none of its elements would work, but I wasn't really thinking about that at the moment. I then worked on refining player strengths. For example, the large slime could only push the boxes while the other two couldn't. After making this mechanic, I then went to my Trello board and had to face the thing I am most terrible with, graphics. I decided that I need to make the slimes with pixel art, although I have absolutely no idea what I was doing. I made the design and animations for the small slime, and do not worry because I plan on changing the animations later in development. More on this topic later. After following several tutorials on both importing and setting up the player animations, they still didn't work, and I was getting frustrated, so I took a break and cleared my head and went to play some basketball. After coming back and working on the problem and solving it in a little over an hour, I was able to get the small slime animations working, and I showed it to my family and headed off for the night. Knowing that Saturday was my last day, I knew I had to get major progress done on this. As the hours passed by, but I tried to finish all the animations for the two other slimes, and I ran into a million problems, including enlarged box colliders and more. The day was coming to an end, and I knew I wouldn't be able to finish the project, and decided on an alternative. I would make as much progress as I could, and if I didn't finish it, no big deal. I loved the idea of the project, and decided that if I didn't finish it, I could make some devlogs on it and expand the game from what it was going to be, a very short puzzle game, and after making some other mechanics such as triggers and swishes that helped drop boxes, I wrapped up what I was working up on the project and called it quits for the night. So this is where I am for my current state of development. Much of the graphics are temporary, such as the box. Here is some gameplay in the project progress I have, all in one. Here are some of the animations that I have for the smaller little slime. Jump. And here that you can switch to the taller one that can jump higher. And you can also combine to make the larger one, as you can see here. And here's just some example of how you could solve this very simple problem. You just combine, move this block onto it, and there you go. You're free. That is all the progress that I've made so far on this project. If you have any suggestions for this project and any ideas for a name, please put it in the comment section below, being that I would like to expand the game and I have absolutely no clue what I would like to name it. For the future, I plan on releasing this on itch.io when it is done. One example of a suggestion that I might use is to have air vents that only the small slime can travel through. I learned so much in the process, and I highly recommend anyone to do it if they're considering it. If you are considering doing a game jam, just do it. There's no harm, and you can get great feedback from Discord servers they host, as well as other sources. It also helps you learn a whole lot so that you can incorporate it into future projects. So basically, it just helps you become a better coder and overall game developer. Anyways, thanks for watching the video. If you liked the video, please make sure to like and subscribe for future devlogs and content. And also make sure you comment your favorite part of the video below. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.